Good afternoon to all. Today's session on Python programming, which is used to design IoT solutions, or it is used to write IoT applications. So it's a programming language, general purpose programming language. So what are the content we are going to discuss today? And these are the contents we are going to discuss today under the Python programming concepts. So first we are going to look on the basics of Python programming language, followed by the standard types and objects which is available in the Python programming. And next we have control structure, how we are designing the control structure, that whether it may be conditional statements or repetitive statements. Okay. So any programming language consisting of three main categories of like statements. One is a simple statement, which is maybe an like a arithmetic expression or a assignment expression, like that. And the second category of statements are conditional statement. We can also call selection statements. So that falls into conditional category. The third one is repetitions. Repetitions may be in terms of what loops we are implementing in terms of loops. Okay, we can use for loop, while loop, like that. So this is the entire the conditional and repetitive statements which are considered under the control structures. We can also call constructs, control constructs of a Python programming language. And syntactically, it's different from other programming languages. Python having a unique syntactic representation while we are programming. And next topic is the functions, how we are designing the modular concept by using the functions. So we are writing a building body of your program. We are writing related statements in a particular function. So how we are designing the function, and followed by we are going to learn files, how we are accessing a file, how we are reading a data from the file, how we are writing a file, data in a file. Okay, this followed by we have some kind of modules. Here we have Python programming has a plenty of modules which can be utilized in any applications. Okay, the Python, the only language which has a huge and multiple library in terms of modules. Let's say in Raspberry Pi programming, we are frequently used datetime and Raspberry GPIO. We have a GPIO. In Raspberry Pi, we have a GPIO pins now, 40 pins for accessing the data, to reading the data from the pins, and to write something on a Raspberry Pi. We are accessing through the GPIO pins only. So for that, the Python has a separate module for Raspberry Pi, that is in terms of GPIO. So this module comes from Raspberry Pi. I mean RPI.GPIO package. So this is in terms of module. So we are going to look that whatever the required modules. We are not going to look all the modules of Python, because we don't have much time to learn the entire Python. So what are the concepts which are used to develop, which are used to write an IoT application using the Raspberry Pi? Those topics will be discussed today. Okay, we are not going to look all the topics belongs to, all the concept belongs to Python programming. So those concepts which are frequently used in the Raspberry Pi applications, okay, that will be discussed today. Okay, next. So we are going to start with the basics of Python programming language. We know that Python programming, general purpose programming language, it's a server-side scripting language, and also it is an object-oriented programming language. What is the meaning of a scripting language? Scripting language is a language which is used to write a scripts. Okay, other than the procedural concepts. Okay, so it is a server-side scripting language. Generally, what happened when we are writing the scripting languages, we have two categories of scripting language. One is a client side and another server side. So the client side scripting language like a JavaScript and Ajax, like the programming languages are there. But at server side, we have different server side scriptings also available. But Python is a unique programming language which can be used to develop the Raspberry Pi applications. And it's an object-oriented program. It supports the class and object also. Whatever the OOS concept we have, like abstraction, inheritance, encapsulation, these concepts are supported by the Python application. So we can design the classes in a Python. So we are not going to learn the class designing, object designing, because we don't have much time to learn the concept. So what are the basic things which are used in a Raspberry Pi application? There those concepts will be discussed today. Okay. So the basic things. What are the basic things? Statements and syntax. How we are designing a statements in a Python program language. So any program language has some kind of structure. In the structure, we are following some categories of statements. So here we are using comments also, same like other languages. So why you are using the comments? To easily digest the logic of your programming. Generally, what happened when we want to digest an application and a program, okay, other than the technical person, they need to they need one kind of description in terms of a natural language. So we are writing the natural representation, what is the description of your logic in terms of comments. Let's say if at all I'm using one d is equals b comments for AC. So other than the mathematician, those are not understanding the what is meaning of d is equals b comments for AC. So we are writing here, we are finding the discriminant of the given values of a particular quadratic equation. So we are writing the English like statement to easy understanding the non-technical persons. So there we're using the comments and the continuation. What happened in a programming language? We are using continuation to escape the meaning of the statements. Let's say I want to print one statement like this. Let's say I'm writing one kind of statement. See, if at all, I'm writing one statement of what Python here. See, let's say here I'm writing hello /n. How are you? This is my statement. So what happened? It's going to be display hello followed by the next line. How are you? What is the /n? The /n is a meta character which represents it takes a new line. Okay, the entire string is split into two lines. First line is hello, the second line is how are you. Let's say I want one slash, so my output should be like this: hello, how are you. How can I write this? So we can write the previous statement, we can rewrite the previous statement like this: hello /n, how are you. So what I meant, it's going to be skip the meaning of this. So ఈ స్లాష్ అన్నదాన్ని మీనింగ్ స్కిప్ చేసేది ఒక స్లాష్ అని ప్రింట్ అయ్యి తర్వాత నెక్స్ట్ లైన్ లో వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. Okay, right? This is the usage of continuation. The continuation which is used in Python to escape the meaning of a particular expression or a statement in a programming language. So multiple statements grouped as in a suits. Generally, what happens C, C++, Java-like languages, we have a curly braces to write a set of statements under a for loop, under a if condition, under a switch case, under a while loop. We're using curly braces, right? But Python doesn't have the curly braces. They are maintaining the set of statements with an indentation. Indentation means whatever the state block you are starting, from that point it gives eight spaces, what like one tab, the eight white spaces, that is indicates indentation. So that indentation, before the indentation we should use the colon symbol. The colon itself represents whatever the statements comes after this line are treated as a group of statements. A group of statements are treated as a single block. Okay, the same like irrespective of, in the place of curly brace we are using colon itself, especially in Python programming language. Okay, and if at all you want to represent multiple lines in a single line, so we are separating the each and every line using semicolon. That's all. A is equal to semicolon, B is equal to 20 semicolon, C is equal to a plus B. We can write by using a semicolon. This is the syntactical representation or statements of a programming language, a Python programming language. And variable assignment, how we are using assignment operator. There are two kind of assignment operators available in the Python programming language. One is assignment operator, next one is augmented assignment. The augmented assignment which is used to create short expressions. Let's say I have an expression like this: A is equals to 10. this is a simple assignment, right? If at all I have this statement, so this statement can be expressed in a short form like this by using of augmented. So these both are equal. Now both are equal. A is equals to A plus B or A plus is equals to 3. They both are equal. This is called augment assignment. And the next, identifiers and keywords. Actually, what is the meaning of identifiers? Identifiers are strings or a character which are identifies your data or object in your memory location. So how can we identify? There are some certain rules to design identifier for a particular object name or a function name or a class name, whatever the primitives we are using in a programming language. Then we should have some kind of statement, a name. That name indicates the identifier. So what are the rules? The first rule is the first character must be a letter or underscore. Should not. Sorry, it should not be. It's not must be. It should not. Sorry, it should be a letter or underscore. It should not start with a digit. So whatever the variables we are using, whatever the objects we are using, whatever the name of the class we are using, whatever the name of the function we are using, that should be starts with the letter or a underscore. Okay, it should not start with any other than the letter and underscore. Okay, and additional characters can be alphanumeric or underscore. Okay, if at all I want to use grand total, we should not specify grand space total. Okay, it becomes a two things, right? Grand and total. So if at all you want to present that kind of strings, we should use underscore, grand underscore total. And one more thing, the Python purely case sensitive programming language, it can consider the small a capital is different. Okay, both are not small a capital A should not be same. Okay, these are the three rules to designing your identifiers and keywords. And keywords, nothing but the whatever the strings we are representing, whatever the names we are representing in a programming language that are reserved by the programming language. Okay, which we should not use as a user defined. Okay, there are some kind of set of or like keywords which are available in Python program, like break, continue, def, import, as, in, for, if these are the keywords. Okay, we should not use our user defined object, user defined variables. And standard types. The Python supports these are the types which it supports. First, the category is a number, the second is string, third is list, tuple, dictionary. These are the types of data you can represent in Python programming language. You can use the numbers. The number should be it may be an integer, floating point, a complex number. See, the complex representation which not impossible in C, C++, Java, but Python supports complex representation. What is a complex representation? A complex representation is a combination of real and imaginary. So it looks like this. 6J. This is a complex number. This representation can be possible in a Python programming language. It is not possible to implement a C, C++, Java. So this is another advantage of Python programming language. And floating point numbers. We have a floating point numbers 2.5 like that, minus 2.5, minus 3.5 like we can use. In integer we have boolean and long integer. So boolean. How can we represent a boolean? It should be capital true. Whenever writing, the first letter should be capital in a boolean representation. Okay. In other languages, some languages supports 0 or 1 also as a boolean representation. But here we have a true and false. The first letter should be capital. And then next one is a string. String is a collection of characters where we have a sequence of characters. We should have we have a set of methods, set of functions of a string class. We can manipulate, we can design the string oriented programs. Okay, let's say for example, if at all you want to find the length of the string, we have a function length of string. Okay, if at all you want to reverse, we have a reverse. If at all you want to sort the characters of a string, okay, we have. Okay, so string representation which is available. And one more thing, especially the string functions, string class methods which are used to the data validation. Let's say if at all I'm entering my email ID, if at all I want to validate my email ID, how can I? To identify their pattern. What is the pattern of email ID? It should be has at the rate, it should has a one dot, at least one dot, right? Two dots, at least two dots. So at least one dot, not two dots, at least one dot. So we are finding index of is a method of a string. It can be written the index of where the at the rate and dot occurs in a given string. So if at all I'm giving right Ranjit, it's not a mail ID, right? Ranjit at the rate gmail.com. It is a mail ID. How can we can say? So whatever the index of at the rate index of I, it returns the positive numbers other than zero. So then it is a valid one. We are validating. We are validating by using of what like index of last index of, okay, like that. Like that we have a set of methods which are available in a string class. In the same way, list also is a collection. It's a type of standard type of Python. It is a collection of different data types, not only numerics. It can be collect anyone. We can use one a Ranjit comma 6 plus 7j, like that. We can use multiple data types in a single object, that is list. And next is tuple. The difference between tuple and list is, a list is a mutable one, we can modify, but tuple should not, we does not support the what like modification or updation of a given string, given list. Okay, so it supports to modify the data is a list. It does not support by the modifying of data is a tuple. That's called immutable. Immutable. We have in a concept. A dictionary. A dictionary is a collection of elements which has a paired values, key followed by value. Okay. So here we have a key unique data and the value may be duplicates. Okay. So we are going to learn these things. One second. So built-in types. Built-in types, we have a type method. We can use, let's say a is equal to 2.5. The type of a, it's going to represent what type of it is. Okay, we have a null, what like a null representation. I mean, same as C programming language as a none. None itself is a null representation, and we have some files representation and sets. Set is the same as a what like a list, but it supports what it is a what a unique data. It does not have a duplicate data. When we have a set, if at all I'm creating 1 2 3 3 3 4 4 if it is returns only the unique values, not the duplicate values. It accepts only unique values. Okay, repeated values, the duplicate value does not accept it under Python. We have two under sets of Python. So here there are two types of sets. One is a mutable sets and immutable sets. That immutable sets are frozen sets. Okay, we are going to learn the functions and methods. The difference between function and method, where the what like behavior, whatever the behavior, whatever the description we are writing in terms of a set of instructions under the class, that is called method. Outside of the class, that is called function. Okay, whatever the def definition defining your function outside of the class, that is called function. Inside of the class, that is treated as method. So whenever we want to access, we should access through the class name itself. Okay, that is called method. Okay, and we have some set of modules and classes also. And these are the some kind of operators. We know that comparison operators. Okay, greater than, less than, or equals to, greater than or equals to, double equals to, not equals to. And the standard type object identification comparison, that is not. So we are comparing. Let's say a is equal to 10, b is equal to 10. A is b, yes, true. Why? Because a 10 and b 10. Okay, a is equal to 5, b is equal to 20. A is not 10, b, yes, true. Why? Because a is not equals to b. Okay. So especially object or like representation, object comparison, we are using is not. And we have some kind of a standard Boolean operator, that is not or and. Okay, or whatever the logical and the logical are, we are representing in terms of words, or a and d and not not. Okay, we don't have a symbols in Python programming language like a C, C++, Java. Okay, so we have some three methods, three functions. One is a REPR, STR, and type. REPR, which represents the string, which is going to be evaluated with any substring which is available, and string directly it represents the string. It does not evaluate it. And the type, it's going to return the corresponding type of your given object. And these are the sequence functions which can be used if at all I want to create a list. So we are using list function, a list of iteration. Okay, let's say I have an 1 to 5, so list of 1 to 5, that's all. String also we can create by using a. And one more thing, we can have some kind of symbols. If at all I want to create a list, we can use braces also. Within a braces we can write 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. So we can also write a list of 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Two ways. There are two ways. Even string also we can, whatever the content we are putting in under double quotes, that is treated as string. And tuple same as list, but the thing is it's the immutable one. Okay, see, these are the functions which returns the maximum value given sequence, the minimum value of given sequence, and it reverses your sequence. Whatever the sequence we have, it's going to be reversed. It is going to be sorted. Whatever the sequence you are giving, it's going to be sorted based upon the ascending or descending. If at all you are by default it sorts ascending order. If at all you want descending order, you have to use a parameter that is reserved is equal to reverse is equal to, sorry. Okay, and the next is sum. It's going to be summation of your entire sequence. Okay, so these are the some built-in functions. And next is operators. We have some what like the formatting operator. Let's say if at all I want to print what like C like representation. Let's say I want to print. I want to print multiple variables here. So hi percentage your age is percentage. We can write like this, name comma age. So what happened? Whatever the percentage is S and percentage D, which is replaced by name and age. So hi Ranjit, your age is 36. So it's going to represent a string by using of. So this is my string. Whatever the double quotes starts from I to the D. This string is consisting of conversion codes. That conversion codes is substituted by name and age with the representation of percentage symbol. Okay, so formatting string followed by list of arguments. In formatting string, how many format conversion codes are available? The same equivalent of parameter list should be available in the argumented list. Okay, that is the use of the formatting operator. Am I clear? Yes. Yeah. List. A list is a sequence of different data types, which can be any type of data which can collected in a single group in a single object. Okay. See here we have another list, none comma something to be see here. So it is a string type, it is a none type. So it collection, it's going to print another list, is going to be print. So we can use like this also, list of SRITW. So whatever the string, it is going to be split based on the characters. So SRITW is in a list. Okay, and we can use an empty list also, square braces, open square, close square. And the next is a list. This is a list. Here, if at all we want to access the values of an list, we can use slicing mechanism or accessing mechanism directly. Accessing by using of index number. Otherwise, we can slice by using of this representation. The colon 1:3. Here, the 1:3 is the slicing mechanism, where the 1 is included and 4 is excluded. So what happened? It returns the range of indexing from 1 to 3. The 4 is excluded 1 to 3. So 0, 1. So this is a 1, this is a 2, this is 3. These 3 will be returned. So here ABC 4.56 and inner list. Okay, and the list of whatever the slicing mechanism starts with the colon, that indicates from the beginning. Whatever the slicing list which ends with the colon, end of the list. So it takes end of the list. If at all we don't have any after colon, it considers the end of the list. It considers all the elements which belongs to the list. if it only starts with the colon, so what happened? The slicing starts from the beginning itself. So colon 2 in the sense 0, 1 only. It starts with 0, ultimately it starts with 0. The colon 2 is exclusive again. So 0 and 1. So what is the value of 0 and 1? That is 1, 2, 3 in ABC. See, if at all you want any multi-dimensional representation, we should represent like this. A list of 3, 1. What is the 3? 0, 1, 2, 3. This is the sublist, right? The 3 itself, it is a sublist. It consisting of 2 indexes, again 0 and 1. So the first index representation 3, the second index representation is 1. So 1 is a list. So I'm going to get list. A list is going to print the entire list. So we can have like this. So 3, 0. 3, 0, 0 in the sense inner. It's going to be print as inner value. So mapping which is represented in terms of dictionaries in a Python application. Mapping types which consisting of dictionary type where we have a paired values, the paired value consisting of key followed by value. Each and every value, each and every record in a dictionary having paired value. One is type followed by value. The key and value separated by colon symbol. See here, this is an example of which are purely used for hashing functions. Name and earth. These are the first element. This is the second element. So here, ultimately, this is the key and this is the key. And this one is the value, and this one is the value. Okay. So if at all I want to access dict2 of name, so what I'm going to get earth. Dict2 of port, I'm going to get 80. Okay. So see here, this is an empty dictionary. This is a 2 record dictionary. So if at all I'm printing dict1 comma dict2, so empty list, empty direct dictionary followed by 2 recorded dictionary. So if at all I want to find f dict, so here we are slicing. So dict of x comma 1, y comma 2. So we are finding like this. So this is the way we are going to design dictionary concepts once. And the cells are nothing but the collection of elements which should be a unique data, should not be non-duplicate values. What of this set value it has a non-duplicate value. So sets are mutable, the Fortran sets are immutable. So set supports the modification, okay, addition, deletion, insertion, okay, but Fortran set does not support. Why? Because those are the immutable types. Okay, this is about the standard types of Python program language, followed by the control structure. Here we have two categories of control structures in any program language. One is a control structure consisting of conditional statements and repetitive statement. We can also get iterative statements in terms of loops. So conditional statement, how we are implementing. Okay, so here in conditional statements we have an if. There, if again falls into 4 subcategories. One is a simple if, second one if else, third one is nested if, fourth one ladder if. So a simple if which is going to be test, only condition changes, it can be test and show the result. That's all. If it is true. If it is false, it doesn't bother about the false concept. Okay, it focus only the true side only. Okay, if else, if at all we have an if else, if condition is true, then will be execute, otherwise else will be execute. See here, if it is true, the statements will be executed, otherwise no statement will be executed. A simple if. If it is if else, if it is true, the first then statement will execute, else part will be executed. And this part and this part, these are the two parts. This is true part, this is a false part. So this is about if else and nested if. The whatever the if we have, if the condition is true, again we are testing again nested. Okay, the if condition having another if condition. So if it is true, again if we have an if condition. So if at all you want to execute
invoke this statement, these two conditions should be true. Then only the statement will be invoked. Otherwise, the statement will not be executed. Okay. And the ladder if. So whatever the nested if, which is going to be test at the true side, true, true, true. If it is true, again test, true, again test, like that. That is called nested if. Nested if, sorry. Ladder if, it's going to be test false side. If it is true, we are executing this statement. If it is false, I have another condition. If it is false, I have another condition. If it is false, another condition. If it is false, another condition. Last, we have else. So it is a false side. So we are testing again and again. False side is called as a ladder if. If at all we are testing the condition, a true side again and again is called as nested loop. Nested if. Okay. But we'll discuss the programs belongs to this slide representation. This presentation. Okay. So loop statements having two things. One is a for and while. So for having, and one more thing, in Python 2, Python 3, there are two categories of syntactical representation of if, for, while. Okay. So we have an parenthesis. Whatever the for or while we are using, if at all it has a parenthesis, that is indicates Python 2 version. If there is no Python in if condition, while, for, okay, so that indicates what? Python 3 representation, syntactical representation. This is Python 3. Okay, for iterative var in a sequence. Okay, we have in a sequence. In that sequence, we are iterating from first to last. Let's say I have 5 sequences. So 1 to 5. So it starts with the 1 and ends with the 5. So iterative execution, same. The set of statement will be executed until the completion of the sequence. While if the expression true, then only the statement will be executed. Okay, right? That is the difference between for and while. Okay. Next, what are the functions? Functions are a collection of statements which are related. Okay, let's say I have a problem. If at all I want to provide a solution for a particular problem, how can we approach? There are some kind of methods. Okay, so any programmer, any developer, they are focusing the design a solution. They are splitting the problem into subproblems. They're splitting the problem into subproblems until the problem become as an easier. Okay, let's say I have to develop an e-commerce website. I'm not going to write the program directly. Just I'm splitting the entire e-commerce website into different subproblems. So I have a shipping problem. I have an order problem. I have a what like catalog problem. Okay, I have a what like payment problem. Okay, like this. I'm splitting the entire problem into subproblems. Again, I'm splitting the payments into subproblems. Again, payment may be a card, a debit card, maybe a credit card, maybe an UPI, maybe an internet networking. Sorry, internet banking. Okay, so what happened here? I'm providing a solution. The smaller problem, whenever comparing with the designing a solution for a smaller problem is easier than the comparing with the larger problem. If at all we want to provide a larger problem, it's going to be complex. So what happened? We are splitting the entire problem to subproblems. Okay, until it becomes an easier. There we are providing a solution for easier part. So after providing a solution for all easier parts, it's going to be integrated into a larger solution. So that kind of process is called a divide and conquer. Okay, we are dividing the entire problem, the smaller set of problems, and providing a solution. Followed by after the getting the solution for all the small problem sets, again we are integrating that solution into entire solution. So here, to implement this kind of mechanisms in especially in the programming orientation, so there we are following some modularity concept. So the any kind of program we are writing modular based. So even whatever the library we have in Python in terms of modular itself. So we are approaching modularity. Here, the modularity consisting of different types of classes, different types of functions. So, how can we define a function? The define function, if at all you want to write a function in a Python, syntactic representation of a function is like this. Define. We are defining one function name with having a parameter list. If at all we don't have parameters, just leave it at empty. Okay. Followed by set of statements. See, we have a colon, right? Here is a colon. Colon indicates what? What of the statements comes after this line is treated as one block with having an indentation, once tab. Okay. Am I clear? See, here it is, my line starts here, here the line starts here. Okay, this distance is called as indentation. We should have an indentation. See here we have an example. This is my line, and this is my another line, and this is my another line. See here. So what happened? Here I'm defining one function, that is function 1 of n, followed by we have a colon, followed by we have an indentation. This is indentation. So what of the statement which having in the same indentation, what indicates? The previous line to that line, it is treated as one block, that's all, nothing else. See, if starts here, one indentation, after indentation, the if consisting of one statement n mod 2 double equals 0, so it has also one colon. After that colon, again the next line having another indentation. So like this, we can write as many you want. Okay. After this, what do you have? If and else, right? Else will have same indentation. So we are get back to back. So the block starts, the if block starts here to here, and else block starts to here, and the function starts to here to here. That's all. Am I clear? Right? Yes. And the next, we are going to the practically we are implementing this kind of programs. Okay. And files. Files is a concept. It has a set of functions which we are used to create a reference towards your physical file, which are to perform some kind of operation like a read and write operations on a file. So the sequence of the file operations like this. Whenever you want to read the data from the file, we should open first. Whenever we want to write the data on a file, we should open first. So ultimately, any operation of a file, the primary and the important step is we should open the file. Other than the file, if without opening a file, we cannot do any operations on a file. So first and foremost step is we have to open a file. That open file, we are using function that is open function. So open having two parameters. One is file name, another one is a mode. File name, what is the physical file name you have? You have to write the address. Okay, your local device address, or you have any URL, you have to specify the URL. Okay, follow to the mode. As I said now, if at all I want to write a data in a file, we should open. If at all I want to read a data from the file, we should open. If at all I want to append the data to on a existing file, we should open. So these are the categories. These are the modes we are going to open a file. While we are opening a file, in what way you are utilizing this open function? Either it may be you are open for write a data on a file, or if at all you want to read a data from the file, or you are appending some new content to an existing file. These are the things. So the mode specifies in what mode you are trying to open this file. So we have some kind of mode values R, W, A, R plus. R indicates read, W indicates write, A indicates append, R plus indicates read followed by write. Read followed by write. Okay, so these are the four kinds of modes we are using in an open function. Okay, when we are executing file operations. Okay, if at all I want to read some content from the file, we have two functions. One is read, another one is a read line. A read is a function. It can be read the entire content of a file at a time
we can have another provision. We can read a number of bytes also. Read of 5. So what happened? It's going to read only 5 characters from the file. Read of 50. So it can be read only 50 characters from the file. If at all I'm using only read, the entire content. If at all in a use file, the entire content will be read in a single operation, read operation. Read line, it can be read line by line itself only. So whatever the first line it has, read line, first line will be reading. Second read line, second time, if at all I'm executing second time read line, second line will be executed. Next execute, third line will be. Okay, like that. It read by line. These are the two functions in a read operation. One is a read, another one is a read line. Next, if at all I want to write some content, so we have to pass some content in a write function. Write of hello. So the hello will be write on an opened file. And an opened file. Even read also, it reads the content from the unopened file. Okay, it reads the data from an opened file. It reads data line by line from opened file. It writes the given data on an opened file. Okay, it writes. So if at all I'm using A, so what happened? It's going to append whatever the content we are writing. We are trying to write off hello. So hello will be appended to end of the content which is present in your given file. Let's say if at all I have a file having content, 100 lines of content. If at all I'm opening as a write mode, what happened? It's going to be overwrite. The whatever the existing data will be erased, and the new line will be writes on your file. That's all. There's a main drawback by using of double mode. So if at all there is, you have a provision like that, you can use a append. Okay, this is one example. See, I have in a file the config text. It has some kind of one line. The line will be read. Okay, print type of f. So what type of it is? File type, IO type. So it's going to print. So line by line will be printed. Okay, this is about the file operation. We are going to know one by one. Okay, after module. A module is a file containing the Python definition and function statements. Okay, so modular. What is a module? Already we know whatever the problem we are using modularity. So we are splitting the solution into module by module. So a module can be defined function, classes, and variables. Okay, it may have classes, it may have function, it may have variables. A module can also include runnable code. We can have an executable file, executed data also, executable file content also. The grouping related code into modules makes the code easier to understand and use, reusable purpose, especially reusable purpose. When we have a modularity, we can use reusable in further usage. It is also make the code is logically organized. Logically organized in the sense, if at all you are taking an e-commerce website, right? The catalog, if at all I'm designing the catalog, so electronics goods in one category, okay, and clothes in one category, and footwear in the another category. So like this, we are categorizing logically by using a modularity. And the next is we have some one example, the modularity concept. That is, we have one program call.py, cal by.py file. It has two functions, add and subtract. So in main program, I'm importing the call as a C. So print C dot add of 10, 3. So what happened? It accesses the add function belongs to the call module. Call is a module here. Okay. So the module is imported into your current program, that is my program. So what I mean, when we are executing this, the entire two functions are imported into this my program. So we can access C dot add. So the function will be added, accessed. C dot sub will be accessed. Okay, right? This is about a user-defined modularity, and we have a predefined modules also. The predefined modules itself is a library. So out of that modularity, we have only two things we are going to discuss in the hands-on session. That is datetime module, and another one is GPIO module. So the two modules we'll discuss now. Okay, these will be discussed, this practice in the coming 2 days of the hands-on session. Okay, data module. Data modules supply the classes to work the date and time. Okay, if at all you want to work with on date and time, you should have
this module. We should import this module. This module consisting of classes date, time, and date time. Date is a class which has which is going to be created by using a year, comma, month, comma, date, a day format, and time which has a format time of hours, minutes, seconds, microseconds, and time zone and folding value, any folding value. And the date time combination of these two, date and time. Okay. So generally what happens when we are having a focusing on date, we are either is what is the year, what is the month, what is the day. Yes, sir. When you are focusing the time, what is the hour, what is the minute, what is the second, what is the milliseconds. So these two are combined into date time. So frequently we are using date time only. Okay. Most probably whenever we have specific concept of date, there only we are using date. When we have a specific concept time, they will using time. Other than all the situation, we are using date time modularity only, module only. Sorry, class only. Okay. So in that date time, we have the important function. One is a string p time and c time and now. Okay. So whatever the time that is formatted, that the format will be considered as a string format. Okay, date string comma format. A form, what kind of format you want? If at all you want year by month, month by year, that can be presented by using of string p time. Okay, c time. C time is the current time. What is the exact right now? Current time. So now it is going to be right in a string format by using of day. What is day? When is it right? WED is going to be right WED. Okay, followed by month name, followed by like that. C times only time. What is the hour? What is the minutes? What is the seconds? What is the milliseconds? Okay, this is about the date time module. Okay, and the next is GPIO module. GPIO module is a module which has the functions which is used to access your Raspberry Pi pins, GPIO pins. If at all you want to send some information to external environment of a Raspberry Pi, we are sending through GPIO pins only. If at all you want to read some data from the external component, we can read from the GPIO pins only. Okay, so GPIO pins having a set of 40 pins of 40 pins. Out of these 40 pins, we have ground pins and GPIO 1, 2, 3, 4 like that number. We have any numbers. Okay, right? Raspberry GPIO Python are RPI.GPIO. RPI.GPIO is our library. Is a Python module to control the GPIO interface on a Raspberry Pi. Okay. How can we? Whatever the BCM we have, BCM is a Broadcom. It's a Broadcom type GPIO. So what type of board we are using? So set mode. We have a mode that is GPIO BCM. Okay. GPIO with the Broadcom pins will be set. Okay. Setup. So GPIO.setup is a channel whether it's a in or out. Okay, where we are reading data from the outside into Raspberry Pi, or we are sending some data from Raspberry to outside. So GPIO.in indicates it reads the data from the outside world. GPIO.out it sends the data from Raspberry to outside world. Okay, if at all I want to read some kind of input, we have an input. GPIO.input. If at all you want to send, you have to put some kind of output. GPIO.output. In that we have a states what like GPIO.high, GPIO.low. High in the sense it sends a signal high, it sends a signal low. If at all I'm using LED, so if it is a GPIO high, what happened? It's going to be blink. It going to be glow. Okay, GPIO low, it does not going to glow. Okay, right? So these are the functions belongs to GPIO. And we are going to start the practice session. So we are starts with the list. Okay, list dictionary set control structure. Okay, first we are focusing on control structure followed by list and like that. Okay, right. So I have a spider. I'm typing the program spider only.
It's an IDE. Okay. It's opening. Spider is an IDE which consisting of three main things. One is an editor, another one is a interpreter. The third one is what like a variable explorer. Okay, it's a if at all I have in a program which consisting of 10 variables, 10 objects, it's going to be explore what kind of 10 variables you are using, what are the properties, and what are the values you have. What are the values you have changed in program also. Is going to be explore all the variables which are available in the program. And another one interpreter. It's going to be show console interpreter. So it show an errors and output data in a okay, this one. Here see version is available. Yeah. See the left one, this entire area is called editor, and this lower right is a console, that is your interpreter. This top left is called a variable explorer. Okay, it's going to be explore what type of variable you are using. So see here in console you can write a single statement Python commands. Let's say for example you can write like this: the type of A is going to type print the type int. Okay, a single line. If at all you have any program multi-lines programs, you can write here. So first we are focusing on what like a control structure. We are going to know if condition followed by for and while. Okay, see in for we are using like this and all the things we are writing in a function oriented. How we are writing the function like this. Okay, like find num fnum as n. So find number. See whenever pressing enter is going to be take an indentation by default in a IDE. Okay, so if n mod 2 double equals to 0, print even. Else print odd. So we have to access that. So if at all I want to read an input, so n input is a function which is going to be read from the console. Okay, so enter a number, we can write like this. So we can directly access for num of n. That's all. See here it is an integer type, not a string type, so we have to cast into convert into integer int of input of enter. So if at all any unbalanced syntax representation problem is going to be show error like this. See invalid syntax because we are not using this parenthesis here. Directly we can execute and here see enter a number is going to be asking question like this. What is 12? What is 12? 12 is even number, right? So if at all I'm giving 11, see 11, see 11 is the odd number. Okay, let's say if at all I'm giving any character value. See, error. Why? Because the string should not be converted into a number. So this is kind of an error. Okay, right? This is about if condition. If at all I want to execute the for, so I'm writing another function here. Def or like sum of underscore n. Okay, sum of n number, whatever the n number you are giving, it's going to find where sum1 is equal to 0. We should use for here. Here I'm iterative variable, that is I in. See, we have a function. I have forgotten the range function. Whenever we want to give a sequence, okay, indirect sequence, we should use a function that is range. If at all I have an n number, I want to provide the range of n. So range of n. So I can write like this: range of n. So it starts with the n and ends with n minus 1. Okay. So I'm using sum plus is equals to I. So print sum1. Okay, there's sum1. Okay, print of sum1 like this. So if at all I'm not accessing the fun directly, I'm accessing what? One second. I want to use this here, not here. What is the sum underscore n, right? So I'm accessing this. So here I'm giving the number 5. So what it returns when we are giving 5? 1 plus 2, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, not 5. Because the range is a function which returns from 0 to n minus 1 numbers only. Like C. Okay. Right? 4 plus 3, 7. 7 plus 2, 9. 9 plus 1, 10. Okay, if at all I want to the included number, so we can use n plus 1 here. So what happened when we have the same 5? It's going to be print 15, right? Because the fifth one included. Okay, let's say if at all I want to start a range from the 2. So what happened? The range starts 2 to 5. So what happened? It's going to be written 14 only. Yes or no? Why? Because range starts from 2 itself. Let's say if at all the states starts to 1 and n plus 1. If at all I want add only the 1, 3, 5. So we can use 2 here. So step count. 1 after 2 will be incremented. So 3. 3 will be incremented. 5. Like this. See. 1 plus 3 plus 5. 9. Okay. Right? Am I clear? This is the range functions. Okay. The range is a function which gives the sequence of a given number from 0. By default 0. It will start from 0 to n minus 1. If at all you want to customize, you can use 1 comma n plus 1 comma 2. So what it indicates? The range starts from 1 and jumps towards second to 2 step count. By default step count is what is the indication? This is the starting number. This is ending number. This is a step count. Here the step count is 2. So after 1, step 2. So 3. After 3, 5. After 5, 7. Like that. Up to n plus 1. What is n? We have n plus 1. Okay. Let's say here I'm writing another function that is def sequence printing. Seq of. I'm printing the sequence by using of I in range of n. Simply I'm printing the value, whatever the range I have. So here I'm changing this as seq, and I'm accessing another function. So let's say here I'm giving the 5. What I'm going to get like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So why? Because the range from 0 to n plus n minus 1 only. So if at all I want to print the line content within the same line, we have a delimiter, that is end. End is equals to space. It's going to be print a space between each and every number, like this: 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here we can use 1 comma n plus 1. So it starts 1 to 5, 10, 1 to 10. Let's say if at all I have a step count 2. So what happened? 1 to 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Without giving 10. So 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 2 step count, right? If at all I have, if at all I am going to give 3 step count, what happened? 1, 4, 4 plus 3, 7, 7 plus 10. Like this. Am I clear? So if at all I want to print reverse, how can I? So n comma 0 comma minus 1. So reverse, it starts with the number n, 10 to 0. What is the step count? Minus 1, minus 1, minus 1, minus 1. Like this. See, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, like this. Why? Because when we have a repetition concept, we can write directly. We can implement any repetitive statements by using a for. We can also while also. Okay. How can we write a while? Here I'm writing while, like same seq1 n y. We can write in a condition n less than 0. N less than 0. Print n minus equals to 1. So every time n will be decreases, right? So here I'm using 1. So what happened? Print n. Sorry, greater than, not less than. Okay. Like this, 10, 9 up to 1. Let's say we can write like this also. True. If at all I'm giving any number 10 times, what happened? It continuously executing. Why? Because always true, right? Always true. So we can write like this: if n double equals to 5, like sorry, colon, break. Okay. Otherwise, we are printing n value followed by n minus equals to 1 and n minus 1. Okay. So we are writing like this. Why? Because 5. When we reach 5, it's going to be great. Break. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 5, 6, 5. 5. So n double equals to 5. So break. The loop will be terminated. Even though I'm using true. Okay. Let's say I'm using continue instead of break. What happened? It's going to be terminate the current iteration, not the loop, right? So 5th iteration terminate chestadi ante. Okay. Here it terminates only 5th iteration like this. Oh, it's the continue in while, right? So while can we have only the continue with having only the updation value. It can be work in a for only, not the while. Okay, right? This is about the control structure. Okay, next file. How can we file? How can write a file? Let's say this is my temp file. I'm reading this. Let's say f is equals to open of what is that temp.py. Okay, comma in read mode. I'm opening as read mode. I have to open, right? So print f dot read. That's all. So what happened? Temp dot py. No such file. Temp. Okay. So we should save this as what, like in desktop. I'm saving this. So here I'm saving as what probe1.py. So this is probe 2 in desktop only. Probe2.py. So this is probe1.py. See, the entire program will be displayed here. See here. What are the program we are writing in the program? That is readed and stored here, printed here. Okay. If at all I want to read only 10. See. What happened? Only 10 characters. Only 10. See, only 10 characters. If at all I 100, it shows 100 characters. So like that. So if at all I want to print entire lines, line by line. So for I in f dot read line, read f4, not f4, print f dot read I, sorry, f dot read line. So character by character, it reads a line, every character will be printed, character by character. Okay. If at all I have what, like c is equals to f dot read and here I have c like this, character by character. C dot read lines. Here read lines or read, yeah, like this, read lines. It reads entire lines from each and every line. It has, let's say I want to break when we have if let's say I want only 10 lines, so cc is equal 0. After that we have c plus is equals to 1. If cc double equals to, and break it. So what happened, it's going to read only first to 10 lines. So what happened, c, oh, see here the c plus cc, sorry, yeah, first 10 lines. If it I'm using only 12, so what happened, print even, after print even it shows only extra 2 lines. See, else at print odd also will be printed. So this is the way we are going to read a line, read data from the file. How can write? Before that, r plus, yeah, we can use r plus. So f dot write end of the program. I want to write this. So print f dot read again. Should I want to remove these statements. Yeah, see, after that we have end of the program. So if at all I want to add another one, we're going to get another one. End of the program. Okay, like this. We are going to append. See, if at all I'm opening this, see, these two statements are added. Okay. Right. So this is the way we are going to read the content from the file and write the content to a file, right? And even we append it. Why? Because that is r plus. Okay, even a also, a will be appended, utilized and appended. Okay, next. What next after file concept in our presentation? Functions, files, and modules. So I'm writing this module program, one module program. So see, here I'm writing program. Okay, let me see. This is my call.py. Okay, I'm writing here add of a comma b. These are the two. I'm written a plus b, f subtraction comma b, return minus b. Okay, and the next we are going to create a new program, that is myprog.py. This is my program actually. Here we are going to import that column. Import
call as C. As C in the sense we are going to give a local name, just nothing else. So print of C dot add of 10 comma 2. Print C dot sub of 10 comma 4. That's all. See 12, 6. The addition of 10 plus 2, 10, 10 and 2, 12. The subtraction 10, 6, 10 from 6. Okay, why? Because here see, what happened here? We are importing, right? Call as C. So the entire program, this entire module, which is imported in your current program as C. So when you want to access these functions, we have to use that reference C dot add. It's going to be add function. It's going to be access sub functions. So whatever the function you want to access, you can. Okay, this is implementation of modules. Okay, right? Next, we are going to write on a date. See, okay, we write on a date. So we can write like this: import date time as d. Sorry. This is the user predefined, right? From date time import should use like this, right? So print date time dot no. That's all. What's the time? See, 2021 February 24, 3:20. If at all I want to print date time dot c time, c time is belongs to from date time import time dot c time. No attribute c time. C time is current time. C time is not there. One second, I have a program. C B time. Yeah, time only, right?
So we have to find the time followed by C time. Okay, like this. So C time will produce like this output. Whatever the day, that is in terms of string, whatever the month in terms of string, followed by day, date, and followed by time and year. But in now, which represents only whatever the number, not the string format. Okay. See here, the program is consisting of import to time from date time, import to date time, right? Print time dot c time, print to time date time dot tau. Okay, followed by we have an iteration, the 10 iterations. Every iteration it has 10 seconds sleep. See, time dot sleep. Why we are using time? For sleep purpose. Sleep 10 seconds. 10 millis. What like this is a micros. Milliseconds, not microsecond, millisecond, 10 milliseconds. For each 10 milliseconds, the program will be executed at 10 times. See, first iteration 10 milliseconds. After 10 milliseconds, the second iteration will be executed. Yeah, second will be executed. After 10 milliseconds, again, third will be executed. You can find 11, 21, 31, next 41, 51, 61, 70, that up to 10 iterations. 10 iterations. So it starts with the 11 right now. So 25 minutes. Up to 25 minutes it's going to print. That's the concept of that program. Okay. And the next is GPIO module. We'll discuss after successful configuration of Raspberry Pi. We are going to execute GPIO. Tomorrow we are going to set up Raspberry Pi first, followed by some kind of accessing, how we are accessing the Raspberry Pi remotely by using from this laptop. I will explain. And the last day, we are going to demonstrate some kind of projects. So tomorrow we have a setup of Raspberry Pi, all the components, including installation, followed by some kind of remote access of your Raspberry Pi from the desktop or laptop. Yes, finished. Okay, right.